So I'll actually start with sharing a little bit of an anecdote. I actually, yeah, no problem. So so Dhindsa I met when we were both 16 and warming the benches at an NTSC camp, and he subsequently went on and founded Zomato. And when I was working as an investment banker in US, he basically said like, dude, you know, would you come and join us? At that time, I had a lot of doubts about Indian economy, whether the growth rate's going to stay up. But what eventually brought me back to India was the relationship that I had with Albindhar, as well as the other people in the management team at Zomato, who incidentally are all people that I met between the ages of 16 and 22. So, which kind of brings me to your demographic, is that this is a time when you're going to build some of the strongest relationships. This is a time when you're going to meet people that you're going to follow into, you know, a lot of big battles within your life, hopefully. This is where you build your support system. I agree with a lot of what Sohail said. One thing I don't agree with is that you can only have 5 friends. That would be a pretty sad life for all of us if you only had 5 friends, I guess. What was very important for me throughout this journey was, you know, people that I knew since I was maybe 18 years old are still people that I maybe talk to once every month. They're in different parts of the world. We all went and pursued our different journeys. But a lot of us came back, and, you know, a lot of us are trying to be entrepreneurs or are trying, you know, to rise within the ranks of corporate India. Some of them even went and started government service, which, by the way, for somebody who asked a question about civil services earlier, very noble profession. To actually dedicate yourself to government service without, you know, thinking about corruption and all that stuff is actually noble, and if you're thinking about it, you should absolutely do it. Having said that, that is probably the only piece of wisdom that I can give you on a more holistic basis, that cherish the relationships that you're going to form in college. Hang out with the right people, the people that make you better, people who are basically not going to tell you to miss a class or miss an exam or not study for one, but actually are going to tell you to like sit down, get it over with, if not, you know, ace it. The other thing that I would seriously urge you, and I urge this everybody who's kind of, you know, following our generation, is get involved in technology. You know, I bet every single one of you has a cell phone in your pocket. I bet most of these cell phones are smartphones. But how many of you have actually thought about how the design process of a cell phone comes together? My granddad was a farmer, a very successful farmer, and an uneducated man. But he knew everything that there was to know about motors, about engines, because guess what? His farming depended on it. The tube wells couldn't pump out any water if there were no the Peter engines for people who know about them, and if there was no pump at the well to bring out the water. So it wasn't his job, it wasn't what he was interested in, but it was something that he knew everything about. And that is important. You're going to live in an age where technology, right from, you know, things like internet banking, are going to rule and dictate your life. Really, they are. I mean, how many of you have basically stopped going to the bank to check how much money you have in the account? You just log in and see how much money you've got left. So, you know, if you're going to be so dependent on something that's going to part such a big part of your life, why not know a little bit something about it? Don't leave it to the nerds at the IITs or the NIITs to figure that out for you. You can do it yourself. It's not that hard. But the thing is, you have to take some level of interest, some level of ownership. So take interest in your studies. Make sure that you do learn something while you're here. You're in one of the best colleges in India, and it would be an utter shame if you walked out of here and you were not able to say that, dude, I learned so much when I was at SRCC that it's amazing. You should learn enough that you want to come back and give something back to the college. Just one last thing that I would really like to share is that don't be afraid of failure. I had a startup in US that started in 2008, and then Lehman Brothers decided that they didn't want to exist anymore, and the startup kind of went down with it. And I would say that, you know, I've not lost more hair in my life than I did during that phase, but it was all worth it, because the experience of failure is something that's very liberating. It's something that will basically make you a better human being, that will make you a better businessman, and that will actually make you like a better father, a better husband, a better son, because you deal with a lot of emotions when you go through failure. So if you're setting up yourself for failure, probably not the right move. Try to avoid it. It still sucks, but you know, don't be afraid of it. If you have an idea, if you have something that you really want to try, you should absolutely 100% go for it, and you know, keep the small concerns, nagging concerns about what the society say, what the parents say, kind of out of the equation. So in my 30 years of collective wisdom, that's all I got to say. I'll take a few questions. So the question, just for everybody who did not hear it, is, you know, what's important for an entrepreneur is to like actually go to class in college, which is very important, or to study at home, or to try other stuff. All three, there's no shortcut. I mean, it is a lot of hard work. I will say that you absolutely have to go to college. You know, not for, you know, the structured education, all that stuff, because what college gives you is an amazing network of people that you will know for the rest of your life, as well as some professors. And in turn, it'll give you a very good perspective on everything that you're doing. So there is no shortcut. There is, you know, the stories you hear about the entrepreneurs who basically kind of skipped college, the Bill Gates of the world. You know what? If there's a Bill Gates, there's also Sergey Brin, who was doing his PhD when he founded Google. So you have maybe, you know, 1% of the entrepreneurs in the world who skipped college. You know, you have to actually go and learn somewhere, and college is a very efficient way to learn. Maybe you don't learn as much sitting in a lecture, but you learn from your peers. And if you're not putting yourself heart and soul into college, you're doing your peers a disservice, not to mention the professors and your parents. So absolutely go to college, but a lot of the entrepreneurship, it's initiative. People who are driven by that, they will not wait to learn something in class. They will try their own hands at it. So, you know, I would say that all of those things, you basically have to do them. Important to get a good job out of campus? No, it's not. It's not the job that defines you. It's the work that that's what defines your career. Just to let you know, I actually didn't sit for a single interview when I was graduating out of IIT. I wanted to be a researcher, and that's what I went and did in the United States. The part about, you know, what do companies like us look for? Look, we are a very young company. Our average age is 23. So most of the time, we just look for people who can show up for work. You know, that's about it. Because that's easier said than done with a lot of people who are just graduating from college. But what we look for most is work ethic. Above everything else, whether you know how to do the job is immaterial. Somebody will teach you. But if you have the work ethic, then they will be able to teach you faster, right? We don't want to deal every day with people who we have to motivate to get them to work, who we have to motivate to learn something new. We want people with initiative, and that usually is a function of work ethic. If you're willing to take responsibility for yourself, for the work that you do, you're going to be good at whatever you're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship or whether you're working in, you know, a multinational, or whether you're in college. Sure. Yes.
I'm pretty certain we get this point wrong, but why and when did you decide to drop out of college, and how did you start degree?
Actually, Dean Hubbard will kill me because he's the dean of Columbia Business School, and I actually did get a degree from Columbia, and I did get it in time. It's just that I never went for my last semester of college. So actually, I've been involved with Zomato since it was founded. It was actually the paperwork was signed in my apartment at the time. I used to work for a private equity firm in Delhi at the time. And as always kind of the, backseat person in the journey where, I was kind of knew where they were going and what was going on, but I was involved more in finance than in entrepreneurship. And, but when the opportunity actually came and I sat down and thought about what I wanted to do with my life, Zomato was something that I was really, really interested in doing. And when I had the initial conversation, it was basically like, I'm in college for 3 semesters in business school, and all I'm doing is 75% of my time I'm just going out drinking with my buddies, and the rest of the time I'm probably sleeping. So it just made more sense to actually start the career right then and there, because I was almost done with my credits. So I actually did get a degree. It's still a joke at Zomato that I dropped out, but I actually didn't. I finished.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I have a question. Sir, you work at Zomato, and which is an online food portal company which directs customers towards various restaurants towards their requirements. Now, sir, there are many other companies and providing the same service. So, sir, how do you just manage the whole competition in terms of providing customer service? That is, sir, in general, how should we as students also kind of innovate so that we could just bring out the best in ourselves?
A very simple answer for that is that you basically don't worry about the competition. You work hard on making your product better. As a matter, we focus a lot on what our technology platform is the best one out there, our user experience is the best one out there, and our content is the best one out there. So we just worry about our own product. We actually don't even look at competitor websites to see, oh, what are they doing? Because you don't want to copy them. Because you know that if you fall in the cycle of just copying what other people have done or doing, you're just going to be always chasing their innovation. So we just sit down and think about what we want from our product, how good we want that product to be, and we just put all our energy into that. And it's kind of a lame saying, but if you build it, they'll come. Yeah, if you're actually building a great product with good content on it, people will find a way to use it. And that's how we've done with Zomato. This ad is our first, actually our second TV production ad, but we didn't spend a single dime on marketing until December of last year. That's 3.5 years of running a company without actually marketing anything. And it was all the user base that we built. We have about 3 million users visit us a month. Is all word of mouth. We just built a kick-ass product, and people will come and use it. And then we don't have to worry about competition. And you know what? If somebody is working in their garage on something that is actually going to beat us, we're just going to have to take it. We did it to other companies. We're not above it. So it's as simple as that. Sure. Sorry.
It is sort of broad question when it comes to management between maintaining harmony and maintaining conflict, because harmony really might lead to complacency, but a kind of conflict.
Okay. So I mean, Forbes India is probably going to hate me for saying this, but our company, a lot of people, we are all friends. We've known each other for over 10 years. And for those of you who read the Flipkart article on Forbes, I'm also from Jwala. So, they can blame us all for, cronyism and all that stuff. But the fact is that we're good friends with a lot of people who've joined us since Zomato started makes it very easy for us to be very brutal. So we don't mince words. There is a lot of conflict. We probably shout at each other way more than a healthy company would. But the thing is, we know that at the end of the day, we don't have a choice. You have to go out with the other guy for dinner. So, when it comes to conflict, we actually encourage it even within our employees. We're not the goody two-shoes, harmony company. We want our employees to challenge each other. We want them to challenge each of us in management who are basically kind of sitting and thinking about all these bigger issues. For innovation, we've figured out that if you hire really, really good people, irrespective of the cost, right? And you put them in any job function, it doesn't have to be something that's their skill set. One of our best tech guys is somebody who actually has a background in arts. right? So you put really, really smart, really, really good people in positions where they have the ability to think through problems on their own. They will eventually innovate. Some of us don't go through a college education that encourages innovation, but it's about the environment more than anything else. You have the basic tools, which is basically a brain, and I think innovation will eventually dawn. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, sir. So I want to ask, since the youth conference 2012, and where we're discussing about how the country would be successful in the coming future. So whatever field we belong to, I just wanted to ask, why do we have to compete with ourselves or with the others like race? What will make us more successful?
If I understand the question correctly, look, this is clearly a booming generation. We have a lot of people in this country who are really young, which also means there's a lot of competition, right? There are a lot of opportunities as well, but there's also a lot of competition. So, in order to succeed, you're basically competing in an environment where a lot of smart people are trying to do what you're trying to do. You just have to be better. And one of the ways that you can actually be better is kind of think outside of just India. Think globally, think where the world is going. Be more open to ideas that are global. One of the pet peeves that I have about the Indian community in the United States is that everybody just hangs out with Indian people. And it's really, really, really sad because you don't make an effort to actually understand the culture that we're living in over there. And that actually impacts how we are able to, be successful over there. And that needs to change. And that needs to change in our country as well. We don't. Living in Delhi, how many of you regularly hang out with South Indian friends? We don't. Granted that not a lot of them are here, but even the South Indians that are here, we kind of don't really gel with them as much, which is our fault, right? They're still the same country. And the thing is, when you talk to people from different backgrounds, you learn a lot, which is coming to my original point. You're at the best, school in Delhi. Why not take the opportunity to meet these incredible people who've managed to make it over here? You will learn a lot from just your friends. Yeah. Can we take the last question? I don't want to keep Dr. Jalan waiting. So, it's very, very, very difficult to actually quantify brand India because we think about ourselves a lot more than people outside think about us, right? So if you're thinking that the United States is worried about India or what India is doing, not the case. If they're going to think about competition, they're going to think about China before they even come to India. So I don't think I'm well placed to make a judgment call on how people perceive brand India. For most of the part, the perceptions that come from outside are also skewed because, if a lot of my, colleagues in America, their interactions with Indians were, kind of the cream of the crop. They were coming across people who graduated from the best colleges in India, made it to a professional level in the United States, and were successful at whatever they were doing. So they always think of Indians as very, very smart people. They don't deal with an average Indian. They don't deal with an average Indian mentality. They deal with very different subsets. So the perceptions can be skewed. And when it comes to consumerism, my parents never bought a car until 1996. And even to this day, they are very happy driving around in an air conditioner-less Wagon-R, which we had to insist to get them to buy instead of, the Maruti 800 that they drove forever. They just couldn't care less. And to this day, they don't. They were just raised in a different generation. And I think, when I look around, me, my brother, our family, a lot of my friends, we're always kind of, chasing the best new cell phone that's out there, the new car that's out there. And actually, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. It's just a different generation, right? Consumerism, not a bad word. Consumers are, at least in the United States, the backbone of the economy. So, when they stop spending, things kind of turn bad. So I wouldn't say that consumerism is good or bad. It's just the way things are changing, and we just have to, adjust to it. There are going to be opportunities because of it, and you guys should do the best you can to actually take advantage of that. All right. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.